Coming to you live from St. Francis College as we just completed our second stop on the Open Line 107.5 WBLS Black History Month tour. Today at St. Francis College, we talked about Black history from the perspective of Black music.
Let's talk about music in general. A couple of things we want to talk about. First off, where we're going and with music today. You take a look at the Grammys, for example, the nominations today. We have in the R&B category a special category that was created this year, Bill Stephanie. You know about that, right, don't you? A special category for traditional R&B performance, which was a shock to me. It's something that just started this year, and I'm scratching my head and saying, why are they doing that? But I get the feeling that they feel that traditional R&B is slowly sliding away. Also, you have a situation, like you said before, I remember, let's go back 20 years when R&B and hip-hop merged to become New Jack Swing, which I believe was the last real good, solid R&B music. Back in those, you had every artist doing it, from your Keith Sweats and the guys, and you also had Michael Jackson even doing New Jack Swing. Remember the time, you know, Teddy Riley and all that kind of stuff. I sort of, when you hear those songs on the radio played on WBLS, you go, yes, that's my song, you know, and what happened to that period?
Well, I think that music over the last 10 years, there's been an effort to sort of recreate some of the classic R&B music by some very new artists. But Bill, here's a question I have for you. And as we look back on the great period of the 60s and the 70s with Motown, and by the way, Motown is having a big Broadway musical coming up, and that should be very interesting to see how that will do. But as we look back on that period of the 60s and the 70s with Motown, Gamble and Huff, all the great music that was created with great lyrics, you know, the poetry at the time, we don't see that same poetry and lyrical kind of rhyming in the songs today.
You look at hip-hop today, look at music today, what do you see?
Well, when I was growing up, hip-hop music and the whole culture was more about having fun and dancing and partying. It certainly has changed today. Hip-hop music has become more misogynistic than ever before. So I can't say that I do have a great appreciation for it, although there are some phenomenal rap artists out here. I believe Jay-Z is exceptional, and Kanye West. As far as R&B concerned, I grew up in the days of Tina Marie and Rick James, so that's the music I still appreciate, because music made today is not geared toward my demographic. There are, record companies don't realize that there are grown and mature people who want to hear that type of music, because we feel like we cannot relate to the R&B music out here today because it's not geared toward us, so we can't understand it.
Brother Travis, what are your thoughts?
Well, as a DJ here in Brooklyn who has had many opportunities to DJ for the young audience, the demographic that I do feel like is usually being considered, I guess, the problem. You know, the fact of the matter is we do appreciate traditional R&B. You have artists like Beyonce, Alicia Keys, Melanie Fiona, Jill Scott, who do make it a point to put out the more traditional sounding, very melodic driven R&B on a consistent basis and have done very well. I think the fact that children of today in 2013 tending to want to listen to, you know, R&B production that has more of an electric sound is more of a product of the world that we live in today. We live in a much faster society. You know, maybe the more slow jam type of record is not necessarily what's always wanted, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't have a place and it is not appreciated by today's youth.
By the way, you're a professional DJ. What do folks want to hear when you go places and do clubs and what have you?
Well, it depends on the atmosphere. You know, in most circumstances, they want to hear music that's going to get them very energetic, very lively. So, for example, when we talked about the old school where you had a lot of great dance records, you know, like the Duda Pee Wee Herman, et cetera, the Electric Slide. Today, they want to teach me how to Dougie. You know, they want to do the stanky leg. They want to...
How to do what? The what? the stanky leg.
The spanky leg. I like that one.
The stanky leg?
No.
Yeah. See, I would have to stop that just like I stopped my daughter 16 years ago. I would have to stop that then.
That's why we call him Uncle Fudd. because he's just
Stanky leg.
No, explain that, brother. Explain it to the young man, old man here.
Well, the stanky leg would be kind of
Stanky
like, I guess, the butterfly back in the mid '90s. But even when you go back in time and you think about people doing the electric slide, it was basically the whole community coming together to do a dance, sort of like a line dance. Now today we have VIC doing the wobble, you know, and the cha-cha slide, where we're all gonna come together as a community. We're gonna have a good time. And we're all gonna do the same dance, and it's very much driven off of call and response.
Right.
So
yeah. Well, Monica, your you know, as far as the music is concerned, what are your thoughts on where it's going, what's happening here?
Well, it's definitely not where it used to be. I believe there are some wonderful R&B artists, just as Travis said, that are out today, and those are the ones that stand out to me. Music is quite expensive today to buy music, more than ever before, even on iTunes. So if I'm going to spend my money on music, it has to be quality music. One of my favorite artists, who it's actually a duo who don't get a lot of radio play, if any at all, is Kindred the Family Soul. Many people don't know about them. India Ari doesn't get as much radio play as she should, maybe because she's not willing to do some of the things that, you know, that's asked to sacrifice her career. These are the artists I want to see more. I would like young artists to appreciate lyrics. Young artists do not appreciate lyrics. I want to see artists who can play instruments.
Hey.
Many young artists today cannot play instruments. So these are the things that are important to me as someone who listens to music, who's come up in a time when music made you feel good, it made you feel great. It made your mother go in the kitchen and cook. that kind of music. I want to hear that kind of card game, red light music. Many young people today don't appreciate it, but I think they can, because there's still a calling for it. Record companies think people don't want to hear that, but we do.